You are now tuned in to the Prescription for Purpose podcast, the #1 podcast for Christian women to learn how to apply God's principles to fulfill your God-ordained purpose. Every episode will empower you with the tools and wisdom necessary so you can strategically execute and excel in every area of your life. This is the place for you to learn how to walk in purpose, to walk with purpose, and to fulfill God's purpose. Hey sis, have you downloaded the Prescription for Purpose mobile app? It is the #1 resource for women of faith who are looking to build their faith and walk in purpose. This is not your ordinary app. There are so many great features, from Bible studies to devotionals, practical resources, study tools, and flashcards for every verse in the Bible so you can truly study God's word. You can even get your own devotionals, prayers, and Bible studies featured right on the app to share with everyone in the community. My favorite part of the app is the community. There's so many women who are a part of this app that are truly just in love with God, and we want to build a life that is pleasing to Him. So if you are looking to partner with us to pursue your purpose, head over to the Apple App Store or to the Google Play App Store and download the Prescription for Purpose app today for free. That's RX for Purpose. Hey sis, and welcome to this week's episode of the Prescription for Purpose podcast. I'm super excited about this week's episode because we are talking to my good sis, Crystal Willams. Crystal is a career coach, and we are going to be talking about how to incorporate God into your career. Y'all know that we talk about purpose, and purpose is not just tied to you being an entrepreneur. It's how you show up to work. It's in your career. And honestly, there are some people who just don't want to be entrepreneurs. And so I think it's so important to discuss how to incorporate God into every area of our life. And so me and Crystal, we always love when we get together and we key and we get to talk about the things of God. But Crystal shares some amazing gems on how we can incorporate God into our career. I'm super excited for you to hear this interview. It blessed me so much, and I just cannot wait to hear the fruit that comes forward in your career and in your lives from us having these practical conversations and really giving the tips and the tools to incorporate God into every area of your life. So without further ado, here's part 1 of our interview with Crystal Willams on how to invite God into your career. Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the Prescription for Purpose podcast. I am so excited for today's guest in our interview. We have Miss Crystal Willams. She is a career coach. She is the host of the Peculiar Career Chit Chat podcast, and she has a virtual career breakthrough program that will get your life together. Me and Crystal today are going to be discussing how to invite God into your career because we have all the things to discuss. Okay. So Crystal, can you share just a little bit about you, about how you got into career coaching and all of the things?
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, thank you, Sharla, for even inviting me on your platform. I'm just so proud of you, first and foremost. And yes, hey, y'all. So I am, first and foremost, God's daughter. I am a wife. I am a mother to a beautiful little girl. I'm a former thriving corporate and government professional, y'all. Listen, if anybody gonna coach you how to do something in your career, let it be me. Because why? Because I'm a dope career coach by default.
Come on.
By default, meaning like this was a calling. I didn't go to school for this. Yes, I am very well educated on what I should be doing for coaching, but it was nothing that I got my degree in. I got my degree in accounting from an HBCU called North Carolina A&T State University.
Come on.
All my Aggies out there. But yes, y'all, it was literally a calling. God called me to the professional and career coaching development industry. He called me to this industry. And so he was just like, if you don't give me your yes and let me take the reins on this, I'm going to show you what abundant lifestyle is like in this career journey. Yeah. And let me tell you, God is showing me just that. And I'm just so excited to be working in purpose, divine purpose at that, and be
Yes.
obedient. Because what you don't want, and Charlie, you don't want no smoke from God.
We don't want the smoke with the Lord.
Here we get.
Period. I love that. So, and I love too that you talk about how it's so important to give God your yes, not just in business, but in your career, particularly because our world is so like entrepreneur focused, right? It's like, if you ain't got a business, what is you doing? And all of the things. And so I feel like we've somewhat diminished the impact or the importance of a career. So my first question would be where do we kind of fit into really invite God into use us in our career in a world that makes it feel like you're a second-rate citizen if you decide to go through a career path versus becoming an entrepreneur?
Oh, girl, first, that's a loaded question.
It
And
is.
I have so many opinions around it, but we're going to just stick to the script, right?
Yeah, no, girl, do the things. Do all the things. No,
So,
do the things.
being an entrepreneur is not for everybody. I just need people to get that in their heads. Like,
Yes,
it's
Lord.
not
It's
for
ghetto.
everybody.
It gives.
And you may simply just not be called to that territory.
Yeah.
There's so many different territories for us to touch, but that may not be the one that you're called to.
Yeah.
Okay. So understand what you're called to, understand what you are supposed to be doing. Okay. Okay. And we're gonna get into that a little bit later on how to do that.
Yes. Yes.
And so I just want you to know that it's okay. It's okay not to fall into the category of entrepreneurship. It's
Yeah.
okay to not fall into the category of, well, I don't have no business. So am I just a second rate citizen?
Mhm.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. God has called you to do a specific thing. And if you don't know what it is, I want to encourage you to partner with God. Partner with God by surrendering your career paths and plans to Him.
Yeah.
Surrender them, y'all, and ask Him for direction.
Yeah.
Ask God for direction. Like, where do you want me to take my talents, Lord?
Mm-hmm.
Who do you want me to serve?
Yeah.
Where and who do you want me to serve? You could be serving an entrepreneur.
Come on.
You could be serving a small business owner. You could be serving the folks in the corporate space.
Yeah.
Serving. Speaking of serving, let me just go ahead and give y'all this definition of servant leadership. Because in my business, I'm not just coaching professionals or individuals. I am coaching you to be a servant leader
Okay.
the
Come
work
on.
in the
Give it.
workplace. And so what a servant leader is, or if you haven't ever heard of the servant leadership phrase, it's a leadership philosophy actually.
Mhm.
And which the goal of the leader is to simply serve. Serve at all levels. Let's
Yep.
let's let's get that clear. Serve at all levels.
Yep.
And this is the difference between traditional leadership, where the leader's main focus is the thriving of the company or organization, right?
Mhm.
That's just traditional leadership.
Yeah.
And so many people have leadership conferences and so forth like that. And it's like we're just teaching them how to be a quote unquote leader, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So let's turn it into servant leadership where you share power, you put the needs of the employee first, and help develop the people and help them perform at a high level.
Yeah.
Okay. That's servant leadership.
Yep.
Me and going back to serving at all levels, I love to think back to the story where Jesus, he literally was the perfect servant leader.
Yeah.
Served his disciples.
Mhm.
Served his disciples. So, oh my goodness, y'all. This story is so powerful. I love talking about it every time I'm talking to a client on how to develop to be a servant leader. Why? Because God, well, not God, Jesus, just Jesus. Okay, y'all. Jesus really was the perfect servant leader. He washed his disciples' feet. He
Yeah.
didn't have to do that.
Yep.
He did not have to do that. He did all the things that he wasn't even like quote unquote supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
He was at this status, meaning the CEO, the president of the company or the organization,
Yeah.
and he come all the way down here washing feet,
Yeah.
making sure his disciples were taken care of
Yeah.
in their time of need. And this is the mentality that we have to take into the corporate spaces, into the nonprofit spaces, into whatever work environment that you are going in.
Yeah.
So if you are trying to incorporate God into your career and elevate and partner with God, listen, take a narrative from Jesus.
Come on.
From Jesus. Take a page out of Jesus' book, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And work at all levels with excellence.
Yep.
With excellence, not that's beneath me. Oh, I know y'all done heard that. That's
Yeah.
beneath me. That's above my pay grade. That's this, that's that. And I'm like, but at the end of the day, you're working for this organization for a purpose, right?
Yeah.
And you want to push forward the purpose that you supposed to be believing in, right?
Yeah.
You're supposed to be on one accord with this organization. And if you're not on one accord with it, guess what?
That's a
You need
problem.
to say bye-bye, and that is a problem.
Yep.
That is a problem. Okay. It's called being self-aware and acknowledging that there is an issue when it comes to you being a servant leader in your career journey.
I love that. I'm looking for this scripture because as you were speaking, it reminded me of a couple scriptures. The first was where Jesus said that the greatest among us would be a servant. And in
Yes.
order for us to serve, it's not simply you, like I work in healthcare. So it's not simply the patients, but I always say I have a lot of responsibilities. I have a responsibility to myself, to my staff, to the patients, to make sure that there's a level of service being provided all the way around. And
Right.
as you continued, it reminded me of Colossians 3:23.
Mhm.
It says, I'm going to read verses 23 and 24. It says, whatever you do your work heartily as for the Lord and not for people, knowing that it is from the Lord that you will receive the reward of the inheritance. It is the
Mhm.
Lord Christ whom you serve. And I feel like if we pulled that into our careers, if we reminded ourselves of that daily, then we would position ourselves differently. We would deal with the struggles because sometimes these jobs be ghetto. Like,
Let's just be real all the way around.
yeah,
It can be super ghetto. However, you don't have to do that.
yeah, yeah. And but we're called to be servant leaders. So
Mhm.
even to leadership, you can still lead from whatever your position is.
That's
And
right.
so I think that is so important that you brought that up. In your practice, like what barriers have you seen that keep people from really submitting their entire career to God, and also keeping them from working as unto the Lord, as we're instructed to in Colossians 3:23?
Yes. So it's uh it's a lot of things I would say, but I do want to highlight three things here.
Okay.
And so, first and foremost, it's the lacking understanding as to who they are and whose they are.
Mhm.
It's like when we enter the workforce, it's like, oh wait, I don't identify as a servant leader, or I don't identify because I got to leave my Christian values at the door, but I
Mhm.
can act however in this workplace. It don't go like that. And
Right,
it
right, right.
shouldn't go like that. But we all see it all the time. We see it all the time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, sis, uh, what are you doing?
I heard you bumping Kurt Franklin in Maverick City in the parking lot,
Yeah,
and your behavior isn't adding up.
it ain't doing what it's supposed to do. It ain't giving what it's supposed to give.
Come
Like,
on.
so first, it's the lack of the understanding or not being disciplined enough to like go into the workplace and say, "Hey, I'll choose to be the light. I
Mhm.
choose to be the light in the midst of chaos, in the
Yeah,
midst of darkness, in the midst of whatever may be going on in your career journey."
yeah,
So, and I always remind people that they need to just ultimately refresh their relationship with God. I
yeah,
like sis or bro, if you're listening, I know who you identify with. I know you're trying to hide that you be going to church, you be listening to them sermons, you be at Bibles. I know, but why don't you show it or show up or rise up in the
Yeah.
workplace, right? And so it's just simply a refresh of your relationship with God,
Yeah.
and knowing and understanding that I roll with somebody higher than the CEO.
Come on.
I roll with somebody
That's
higher
it.
than the manager of my company. I roll with God,
Yeah.
period. And
Yeah.
I don't have no shame. Like the song said, we are not ashamed. We are not ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ. Like, don't be ashamed.
Right. Right.
And also I want to share that I always let people know to amplify what God is calling you. Amplify what God is calling you. If you are lacking in like the understanding of whose you are,
Yeah.
you amplify what God calls you, you're automatically like knowing and understanding and grasping the concept that yes, I am the apple of God's eye. Yes, I am a masterpiece. Yes,
Yeah.
I am God's prized possession. And yes, God calls me friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
God calls me friend. I don't
Yeah.
care if my coworkers call me friend, my manager, the president, or whoever I serve at work call
Yeah.
me friend. I care that God calls me friend. And because God calls me friend, guess what? He will reveal to you where it is he wants to take you
Yeah.
in your career journey.
Yeah.
Your career journey, if you would just partner with him, if
Yeah.
you would just surrender your career plans, because I know we all had them. I had them.
Come on.
Those nice grand career plans.
Come on.
I'm gonna work for this company. I'm gonna get to this level in this company, and I am going to make this much. Child, ain't
Mhm.
none of that happen. Ain't none of it happened the way that
Yeah.
I thought it was going to happen.
Amen.
But I know I had to surrender my career plans time and time again
Yeah.
because God checked me. And I know God is going to be checking some of y'all too
Okay.
of the time. And as God is checking you, He is molding you, He is shaping you, and He's
Mhm.
spirit to start to understand, like, child, this is me. These plans are my plans. You
Yeah.
plan on my plan. Which one?
Yes.
With. And I guarantee you, if you go with God's plan, you will not be like you won't be disappointed at all.
Come on. Come on.
And and so the second one, because that was a lack of understanding about the barriers and the gaps. The second one is a lot of folks, they want to dwell on the facts of their career situation.
Mm-hmm.
The facts. The fact is that there are plenty of layoffs going on. Okay. The fact is you could have not gotten that job opportunity. Okay. That's, yes, I'm not saying not be sad about it. I'm not saying, don't cry your eyeballs out. Go
Yeah.
do that. But you can't dwell on it,
Yeah.
meaning you can't stay there. You
Yeah.
got to move forward.
Yeah.
Right. And so don't dwell on the facts of your situation. Tap into your faith, activate your faith. Like,
Yeah.
what is God saying for you in your career? But you're not going to know that unless you, like, again, partner with Him in your success for career success. And the last but not least one I want to cover is a lot of folks have imposter syndrome. It's
Come
like an
on.
imposter syndrome phenomenon. It's like crazy. And I could talk so boldly about it because I used to be the one with imposter syndrome. I
Yep.
used to be the one to say, oh, I can't take this podcast interview, or I can't take this job interview, or I can't take this meeting with so and so because I felt as though I was not enough.
Yeah.
And I know so many people out there feel as though they are not enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to tell you today that you are enough. You are more than enough. You are more than a conqueror,
Yeah.
like through
Come
Jesus
on.
Christ,
Come
through
on.
Jesus Christ. And so I want you to understand that, understand what it sounds like. Because I know you're like, imposter syndrome, like what everybody be throwing that word around or that phrase around, but what does it really sound like? And it sounds like you comparing yourself to other people's career journey.
Come on.
That's what it sounds like. It sounds like I can't right now, or it sounds like this, I don't have the qualifications.
Yeah.
It sounds like I just give up. And you just been trying for maybe 5 days.
Come on. That's the part.
You just got on the job 5 days ago, and you're like, you're already ready to give up because of so and so may have happened. But I just want to let you know, do not let the fear of you. Look, the fear of success, because that's what sometimes it is.
Mm-hmm.
Syndrome, like a symptom of that is the fear, and the fear of success,
Yeah.
the fear of you actually going for it and
Yeah.
conquering and doing all that you are called to do in
Yeah.
this particular workplace, in
Yeah.
that particular work environment. It literally scares people
Mm-hmm.
of to be the best that
Yeah.
they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, no, we have to dismantle the self doubts. We have to dismantle the fear. And I just want you to just breathe, breathe, like inhale, inhale. I am
Come
a
on.
child of God. Inhale, I am more than a conqueror. Inhale everything that God has called you to be
Yeah.
in this season of your career journey. And exhale everything that you are not.
Yeah.
Everything you are not.
Yeah.
Exhale all the fears. You listen, you are qualified, my friends. You are. You were
Come
qualified
on.
way long ago.
Before
Like
you even got here.
exactly, like my shirt says, this shirt is for me. This is not just to showcase that I'm a career coach. It's literally for me every time I look in the mirror to remind myself that I am a dope career coach by default. Why?
Yeah.
Because my Father in heaven has called me to the industry, and
Yeah.
I'm going to operate in excellence
Yeah.
and follow every single one of his instructions all the
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
And so that's the mentality you have when you are in these careers. I don't care what career. You could be in engineering, you could be in arts and sciences, you could be in accounting, finance, whatever. Just know that you a dope accountant by default, you a dope engineer by default, you a
Yeah.
dope whatever by default because God has called you to it.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. I love that. A lot of what I hear you saying has to do with identity. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that we often don't understand that when you are not able to really have a foundation that's set in your true identity. So when I say true identity, I mean not the things that the world has told you, not what your trauma has told you, not what your circumstances have told you, not what even your degrees have told you. When you're able to operate in your true God-given identity, and you not are only secure in your own identity, but you're secure in who God really is, because a lot of us know of God, but we don't know God like that,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Talk
it's
about
it you will fear success when you feel as if it's something that you have to maintain on your own. But
it.
because
Mhm.
I've submitted my career, because I've submitted all of these things, I know that it's not even up to me to maintain these results. The only thing that I have to do is go in and obediently execute, as you said, every instruction that God is giving you. So when you are able to operate just in a place of submission, imposter syndrome doesn't even get the ability to take root, because you know whose you are and you know who you are. And we love Jeremiah 29:11, baby, but we be going everywhere but the God for these plans.
Yeah, we be going to our coworkers, we be going to our managers, we be going
Instagram.
to it's look, oh, don't even get me started with Instagram.
Yeah.
We be going every which way. And I'm like, have you consulted God about that first? Did you even
Beep
consult
up.
your Heavenly Father? Okay. Well, let's do that first. Look.
And I love that, you talk about the importance of just having that mindset too, right?
Mhm.
Even when it comes to like things that you're qualified for or not qualified for. I was sharing with Crystal before. Last year, I left my job as a full-time nurse practitioner. And in the at the top of the year, I got to a place after a while. I was like, God, I miss doing what I love. Like, I understand that you've called me to this entrepreneurial space. I understand all of that, but I still love being a nurse practitioner. I love the kids. I miss the kids. I really truly enjoy it. And what God had to first show me was that I had allowed my job and my career to become the Lord over my life, meaning
Mm.
that I was allowing it to make decisions for me, things that I thought were set. Oh, I have to have this certain schedule. I can't do X, Y, and Z. It made, I was fitting other things around my job and not making my job a part of my life, not intentionally, but when you work in healthcare, there's just the schedule will be the schedule. We don't close essentially, right? And so God had to pull me away from that space for a season to first demonstrate to me that I was more than my career and my title, that my identity, it's a part of who I am, but it is not the totality of who I am.
Mm.
And then when I got to this point, I was like, but I miss the kids and stuff, and I'm doing what you asking me to do, and like this just ain't giving what it's supposed to have gave. And so God had told me I could go back to work, but gave me very, very strict guidelines of like, we're not getting back to the space that I just delivered you from.
That's good.
And a girl, I was like, oh, like Edge is gone. Okay. And so what ended up happening was I was like, well, okay, that's wild because that like high key doesn't exist. Right, to my finite brain, I'm like, where am I about to get a part-time nurse practitioner job where it doesn't require all of these very outlined and thorough pieces of like, don't do this, don't do that, don't do that, that God has given me. And so I went back to him after being frustrated. It was like, this doesn't even exist. And he was like, girl, I sent you an email last week, but you deleted it because you thought it was the devil. I was like, you ain't gonna distract me, devil. Okay, I'm doing what God has called me to do. But it ended up being from God, being from God.
Mm-hmm.
And long story short, I'm now, getting ready to step into this position to be able to do what I love in my career. I'm only working part-time hours. I'm getting full-time pay and full-time benefits. And I was like, wait a minute. This can't even be for real because wait, what? Like part-time hours, still allowing space in my schedule for me to maintain this new lifestyle that I've built and that I love. My conflict was like, I love my life now. And also I love my career and I need for you to help me with this, God. And he did. I get to do what I love and I get to still be who I am and walk in the fullness thereof. Hey sis, I want to tell you about our new Prescription for Purpose quiz. This quiz takes less than 3 minutes to complete, and when you finish, you will receive your official purpose prescription. Your prescription will include information about your diagnoses, and then you get free courses to help you take the necessary steps to start walking in purpose. The quiz is customized to help you in your current season. Do not spend another day without the clarity and instruction that you need. Go right now to the link in the show notes, take the quiz, and get your official purpose prescription today. Now let's get back to the show. And so I think that it's so critical when you talk about submitting your career to God and sitting and partnering with him, because he will bring, never in my wildest imagination. I've worked in healthcare since I was 17. I started as a CNA and now I have my doctorate in nursing, right? Like, so I've done the gamut. And never in my wildest dreams, outside of like a PRN or as needed position, did I think that I could make more than what I was making at my 40 hours a week. Let's hit that part.
Talk about it.
Let's hit that part. More than what I was making when I left my 40-hour-a-week job where I had worked for 3 years and was driving from here to Galilee every day. Okay. Like I'm making more money, spending less time, and getting the ability to do what I love and legitimately get full-time benefits. And I was just like, only the Lord thy God could do something like this.
Only God. I'm like, won't he do it? Won't he do it? Won't he do the most for his children?
Come on.
He will do the most for you.
Yeah.
And we always tell my son, oh, we be doing the most and you doing the most, but God will do the most for you.
Come on.
It's like, I was literally just talking about this on my podcast. Like when you surrender your career and submit everything to God, guess what? What you do next It's not on you, it's on God. God's
Come
reputation is on the
on.
line. His name is on the line.
Yes.
Period.
Yep.
Period. So if you're afraid to just move and take 2 steps forward,
Come on.
thinking that you're going to fail at anything, listen, if God has given it to you, if he's leading you to do it,
Yep.
it is his reputation. He
Yeah.
ain't gonna have you out here looking crazy. He
Yep.
ain't gonna have God ain't gonna look crazy, period.
Come on.
We can be looking crazy all day what we say we're going to do in our career journeys, but God ain't gonna listen. If you're listening to God, if you're hearing what he has told you to do,
Yes.
where he has told you to take root in your career journey, like
Yeah.
listen, he ain't gonna steer you wrong.
Yeah.
Period. His track record is solid.
Come on. Zero
Solid.
defeats.
Solid. So if
Come
you
on.
just take hold of that promise, take hold of that and understand where God is, like he is literally leading you. You over
Yeah.
here like, yes, master. Yes, master.
Come
Like,
on.
and
Come on. Looking like Ray Charles in the spirit.
for real. But if you understand who told it to you, not oh, your manager suggested. Now, God, I do believe that God will speak through people
You will.
to direct your path. But
Yes.
again, I want you to exercise your discernment
Come on.
and understand that, okay, hey God, was this you?
Come on, because the enemy know how to send good ideas. That's why I was so like, what you're not about to
Mhm.
do is get me out of order or out of line. So even it can go both ways, right? You can't be like, nah, you can't, don't be like me where you're so like, you are so closed off because you want to. I was like, I'm gonna focus in and just do what God has called me to. That you like, I was like, sis, you had deleted the email I sent to you last Friday, and I was like, oh. So
Yeah.
it's important to really, like you said, use your discernment. And one of the key indicators, and I what I've learned over the years is that if you're already spending time with God, when somebody comes to give you a word, it is a confirmatory word. It just confirms something that God has already said to you. And so because of that, you are then able to act swiftly. The issue is that oftentimes we don't have our ears attuned to God. And so we don't ever get to that point to where it's a confirmatory word. It's the first time we're hearing it. Our emotions hijack us and we get excited about the word. And so we take off and you swear it was God, but Betty was in her flesh and she just thought it would be a good idea for you to do X, Y, and Z.
Mm. Facts.
And we love Betty, but Betty ain't God.
At all. At
Betty
all.
is not God. And what I've learned too, and what I love is that I do feel as if like when God pulled me out of my career, I needed the break, right?
Mhm.
Like I worked through a pandemic, worked through all kinds of things. Like it was a very necessary break.
Mhm.
And so I was I was literally just surviving. Like I'm
Mm.
showing up, I'm trying to live, and child, I'm gonna give what I'm supposed to have gave. The song said, "Give me what you got for a pork chop." That's what I was just trying to do. Okay, that's what I was just trying to do, and I love God so much because now I'm not in a position of desperation, right? And I don't have to just merely survive work. It's not something that happens to me, but I even am able to have dominion over how I serve in this career.
Mhm.
So I know that I'm not the only person that happens to. When you have clients, what is something that you really kind of help them detox from that like survivor mentality? How do you help handle that?
Yeah. So let's just diagnose this, right? I mean, we are on the prescription
I'm a doctor, so I'm here for a diagnosis.
podcast. The diagnosis, the diagnostic, right? Is that right?
Get diagnosis. You agree?
Yeah. Okay, good. The diagnostic is the collect the check mindset. Okay.
Come on.
The collect the check mindset or mentality.
Come
Okay.
on.
It is, and let me just give you like a working definition around that. It is a professional who knowingly or unknowingly does not recognize the value in their current position, leading to disengagement in the workplace And this professional, right, thrives off the statement, as long as my check clears, I'm good. They
Come
thrive
on.
off that statement. And they say, I just work to get paid. I'm just doing this for the money or to pay my bills, or I'm not into this type of work, but you know what? It's okay.
Yeah.
Or I'm just doing this work to collect my check.
That's that Marshawn Lynch. I'm just
Yeah,
here so I won't get fined.
right. I'm just here so I don't
Won't get fined.
get fined. I ain't got time for the consequences. Okay.
Okay.
But let me tell you something. The consequence is your mindset, your peace is disrupted. Your peace in your career journey is disrupted because of that type of mindset or mentality. Let me
Mhm.
tell you also what the consequence is of that mentality. You invite confusion
Come
in your
on.
career journey. And I don't know about y'all, but I personally don't want to do the inviting of confusion in my career journey.
Come on, because it's not of God. Confusion is
It's
not of God.
like it's not.
So you inviting little Lucy on into your career.
Yeah. Also, it opens the door of a toxic work environment, a
Mhm.
toxic environment in your career journey, and it literally positions you in survival mode. You're now in survival mode, like
Yeah. Yeah.
that's it. And you lack clarity, you lack that type of excitement for your career. I mean, at one point, you may have been like, "Oh, I love it. I love this. I love that." But
Mhm.
at some point in time,
Yeah.
the excitement just like and you just like your shoulders was up, they down now. They
Mhm.
like this. And I'm like, what is going on? And
Yeah.
also, it's like when you have that type of mindset, you specialize in being mediocre. Mediocre.
Come on.
You don't know what mediocre means. It means it's a moderate or low quality value, ability, or performance. And last time I checked,
Come
you
on.
were a part of the body of Christ and you were a masterpiece. He made you to be the light. He made you to be his possession, his prized possession.
Come
And
on.
he don't specialize in mediocrity.
Come
Okay?
on.
My God don't specialize in mediocrity.
Oh,
So don't you be bringing mediocrity to the workplace. Have
yeah.
a mindset of I'm going to operate in excellence.
Yes.
In excellence.
Yep.
So I want to like dare you to state this statement, okay? Dare you to state this statement on a regular basis throughout your career journey. And that is, I declare that I choose to show up as a masterpiece
Come
instead
on.
of showing up mediocre.
Come on. Run that back one more time.
I choose to show up as a masterpiece instead of showing up mediocre.
Come on.
It's like when you make that decision to show up as a masterpiece, I don't care what's going on in the workplace.
Yeah.
I don't care who said what. I don't care if you ain't get that promotion. I don't care if the rejection letters are keep coming into the inbox.
Come on.
You're going to show up. You're
Yes.
going to show out because you understand whose you are and you understand who got your back at all times.
Come
And
on.
that is God. Period.
I
Period.
love that. And I love that even that you talk about showing up as a masterpiece, even in those tough seasons, right?
Mhm.
I think a really good example of this in the Bible is Joseph. Like they
That
literally threw him in a pit. Then he was a slave.
mhm.
Then he was minding his business, doing well in the palace. All of this. Then Potiphar's wife she stole the man draws, and he was just trying to live his best life as best he could. He's like, all I did was have a dream and a little colorful coat, and y'all out here treating me tragically. But the Bible talks about how everything he put his hands to was
Mhm,
blessed because even though he went to jail for something he did not do, he still
mhm,
pulled up as a masterpiece. He still allowed God's excellence to be displayed through him, right? So it's
mhm,
not about us being perfect because we don't even have that capability, but it's about us being able to display God's level of excellence even when the circumstances aren't favorable. When your job is great and everything is hunky dory, yeah, you can show up as a masterpiece. But I love that you talked about like even when the rejection letter comes, even when your boss is trash, okay? Like Joseph literally is a standing sexual harassment lawsuit, okay? like even in all of that, he still served God above all else. He still worked as unto the Lord, and because of that, at the end, he was able to provide for his family in the middle of a famine. Like his work spoke for itself. People spoke of his names in places where it didn't even belong. He ended up getting out of jail because he was able to interpret a dream, and the two people that were in jail with him or something to that effect. Go read Genesis, okay? It's in there.
It's good.
But they told the king, like, oh, we met somebody in jail who was able to interpret the dream, et cetera, et cetera. And that was the cause for his elevation. He didn't do it with the intention of like, I'm about to do this and set this up myself. He just was serving diligently. So I love that masterpiece mentality has to come with you even when the circumstances are not favorable. I love that.
Yes. Oh, it's so imperative. Like I don't even know what else to tell people when they just like, I'm going through this, I'm going through that. I know I didn't hurt it all. I just been laid off. I know I didn't hurt it all. But let the layoff not be just a layoff. Because guess who ain't laying you off? God ain't laid you off.
Come on.
So guess
He's
what?
leveling you up.
He leveling you up.
Come
and
on.
he got you in a layover season. A layover. Listen, a layover is a temporary season. We all done did flights and things and took trips and stuff. We all had layovers. They're temporary.
Yes.
It's temporary. And in your layover season, if you're there or if you know somebody there, encourage them. Encourage them to do what they need to do in this season. This is a season of preparation, preparation to where you are going and or to where God is leading you to in your next season in your career. This is the time to prepare. This is the time to take the classes, to seek the resources that you need in order to truly advance to where God wants you to go.
Yes. And for me, even when I learned, I was so frustrated because I'm like, God, you told me to come off and start this business. And the first like 6 to 8 months was all about rest and like getting my body and my health back in order and prioritizing that. And in the beginning, it was frustrating, but then I realized that God is like a bigger picture God, right? Oftentimes he's preparing us for what we prayed for, not for the thing that we think we need immediately. And so the name of the game is longevity. If I don't learn how to rest working in a career field where they tell us to do it, we tell our patients to do it, but they don't make room for that. Right. We tell our patients to make sure not to miss a checkup. But if you need a day off for an appointment, child, it's like you just cussed everybody out, essentially. Right. Like not a day off for an appointment during the week, a weekday, huh? You, the healthcare provider, you have health needs. Wow. Right. And so it's even learning new mindsets in that time, learning how to rest, taking the courses. I love that you call it a layover season because what I've even learned the more I travel is that I'm going to enjoy the layover. Okay. We head on over to the Delta Sky Miles Club because I'm going to enjoy the layover season as well. It doesn't have to be a season of dread. It can be a season of excitement if we allow God to do what he's going to do. If we really submit our thoughts, I thought I'd be here by now, our expectations, our own timelines. I really had to lay all of that before God. And it's not always easy, but it's very simple.
Yes.
Because they're not the same thing. Like it's not easy to do, but it's very simple to do. Is all you have to do is just give it all over to God. And that's why that identity piece goes back to it, because how are you going to hand over your life to someone that you don't know for real? And so I was like, a lot of that struggle and that inner turmoil is because we don't want to say, you know what, God, I don't even really trust that you're going to do what you say you're going to do, because that's what it is. It's a mistrust. And we don't like to say the quiet part out loud, but I will. It's a mistrust because you're literally giving God everything, and it can be a scary place to be in. It really can.
Oh, it's very scary. It's
It
very
really can.
scary. I've been there. You've been there, Sharla.
Hmm.
But at the same time, it's very rewarding.
Yes.
It's very liberating,
Yes,
right? It's
girl.
like that burden that we thought we had to carry. We
Yes.
don't gotta carry. That is too heavy for us.
Come on. I'm gonna pick
That
up my own cross and not
is
God's.
Come on, that is too heavy for us to bear. And like again,
Yeah.
know who your God is.
Come
Look,
on.
look at God's track record again. It's solid.
Impeccable.
It- I-
Impeccable.
it's unmatched.
Come
Okay.
on.
So if you know that to be true about God, the God that you serve, we serve,
Come
then
on.
just give it up. Just
Yes.
this is all you, Lord. I listen. All you gotta say is, God, I surrender my plans to you. I'm giving you my plans.
Yeah.
I know that your plans are better than mine, way
Yeah.
greater, and I want to accept what you have in store for me.
Hmm.
Give me the ability to accept it
Yeah.
because oftentimes it's hard to accept what God has for you
Come
because it
on.
doesn't look like what you thought it was going to look like.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So I want you to accept the plans that God has for you.
Yeah.
It's gonna be good. Don't
I
worry about
love
it.
that.
It's gonna be good.
Hmm.
It look like not may. It's not gonna look like what you thought it was.
Yeah. You have to submit your expectations. That was something that got people caught up even when Jesus came, right? Because
Mm,
they heard of the Messiah and they
mhm.
thought the Messiah was going to come in. He was going to be like a zealot. He was going to come out, guns blazing, fire from heaven, pew, 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 pew. And Jesus was out here washing feet,
Mhm. Washing feet.
feeding the multitudes.
Mhm.
And because of unmet expectations, people denied him.
Mhm.
And so it's important that when we have that talk of submission with God, that we also lay our expectations down and know that he's a good father. And so he knows the desires of our heart. He
Mhm.
gets pleasure in giving us these things. The Bible says that he's not going to withhold any good thing from us.
Nope.
So I wonder if sometimes in those seasons where we're disappointed, even about a promotion or about a job that we did not get, it may not speak to something that you don't have. It may be God keeping a hedge of protection around you
Come on.
because if he withholds no good thing from me and I didn't get this position, it must not be a good thing. Something there must not be in alignment with his will and his ways and his plans. And so oftentimes we negatively internalize what feels like rejection when it
Mhm.
really could just be a father keeping us out of harm's way. You don't know, you trying to get into be a C-suite executive and God's like, no, this place is demonic. You like those people are demonic. They are trying to devour you. You gonna stay right where you at. You may
Exactly.
be trying to get to a certain company, and that company is about to go under. And you're disappointed now, but God is really keeping a hedge of protection around you because He's here and there and everywhere. He's in the now. He's in the future. He's everywhere that we can't be. And so I love that we have to really settle our expectations on what God wants us to have.
Mhm.
That's so
Absolutely.
good. Now, here's a question I have for you, and we talked about this earlier.
Okay.
Okay. When you're working in a space where it's a secular space,
Mhm.
right? And at the top, you had said, sometimes you feel like you have to leave your Christianity at the door.
Mhm.
How do you integrate your faith and God into your career when you work in a secular space? Like I work in healthcare.
Mhm.
You may work in education. What are some ways where you can integrate God into your secular workplace? I have some things that I used to do, but I want to hear from you because you use the expert child.
It's so many things, right? So for one, as believers, we are set apart. Set apart. So in the workplace, you can literally set yourself apart by, practicing being the solution and not the problem.
I love
Right.
that.
Practice being the solution and not the problem. Rather, you want to not be anywhere near the problem, right? You
Mm-hmm.
well, let me just rephrase this. You can be near the problem, but don't just gossip about it, right?
Come on.
Ask God for downloads on the solution on how to correct this issue
Mm.
that the workforce is experiencing.
Yep.
One thing I always told my mentees at work is listen, and I always and I got told this too, it's like if you're a leader, you don't want those that you're leading to always, I got this going on, da, 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 da." But nobody brings the solution.
Come on.
Well, bring the solution. Bring the solution. Okay. And I promise you, I promise you, you will set yourself apart doing that, just that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You'll be set apart because again, everybody is like, child, this child.
Mm-hmm.
But you over here like, I recognize the problem, but how about we try X, Y, and Z? How about we do this, that, and the third? You're literally being innovative. You're literally getting downloads, getting the
Yeah.
wisdom from God,
Come
literally.
on.
When you partner with God in the workplace in your career journey, He will give you what you need in order to do what? Thrive and not survive.
Come
Like
on.
having is like being on top of the gossip, knowing the latest gossip, doing all these things, and they not even worried about a solution. They just
Mm-hmm.
because guess what? Thank you, Holy Spirit, for dropping this in my spirit. If you are so busy worrying about the problem and gossiping and all that, guess what? When the solution comes, you like, well, dang, I ain't got nothing to do. Got
Come
nothing
on.
to do.
Come
And so,
on.
and so, yes, bring the solution and not the problem. Okay.
Come on. You so focused on the problem, you're gonna miss your promotion.
Woo! That part. So, and this leads me into the next one. So, you don't want to become a product of your own environment,
Mm-hmm.
a product of your own environment, which is the negative environment.
Yep.
Reach the next phase in your career journey. So, for one, that's not Christ-like.
Come
No.
on.
And we should all strive to be like Christ in all areas of our life, not just oh, I'm in church or I'm at home and with my family. I'm this, I'm that. And then you see a coworker at the grocery store and they like, child,
Come on.
is that you? It's
Come on.
like you need to have a familiar spirit, meaning a godly spirit, a God glow in and outside the workplace.
Come
Okay.
on. Come on.
Also, you don't want to bring on unnecessary stress to your world. So, hearing about someone else's problems or even contributing to the problem can be stressful and detrimental to your mental health, to your body, to your
Mhm.
soul. So, you need to be able to watch your ear gates and watch your eye gates.
Come on.
Okay. Make sure you protect them. Protect what you're hearing, your intake. So, meaning like you may have an office and you may want to play some music. Just a little bit, not too loud or nothing. Like Charlotte always talk about Dappy Keys.
Come on. Because y'all gonna get this anointed piano worship and not even know it's gospel.
Yes, and it's such a beautiful thing. And so if you can just do things like that, you can even set sticky notes up on your monitor at work or wherever you're working. Just nice phrases in the back. They listen, you ain't gotta go around the workplace shouting and whatnot. Oh, Jesus is real. Yeah, we know Jesus is real. But when they enter into your office or when they even enter into your presence,
Come on.
there's something about you that shifts their attitude, that
Yeah.
shifts their mood. Are you displaying the light or allowing God to display his light through you?
Come
Are
on.
you doing that in the workplace? Are you like what are you doing?
Come
What are you
on.
doing?
Yep. Yep. Because
It
no matter
matters.
your position, his
No
presence.
matter your position, no matter you can be C-suite level, you can be entry level, you can be mid-level.
Child, you could be environmental services.
It don't matter. Are you the sweetest admin or are you that admin where don't nobody want to talk to?
Come on.
Are you that C-suite executive where entry level employees are afraid to talk to you,
Come
or
on.
are you like welcoming? Are you what are you doing? Like
Yep.
what is the character you are building in the workplace?
Come on. I love that. I love that you talked about not allowing yourself to get caught up in other people. I was looking at 1 Corinthians 15 and 33. It says, do not be deceived. Bad company corrupts good morals. Okay, so you need to make sure you have to watch the company that you keep. And we did the fast with the society, and my first lady came in and she was talking about the fire of God.
That
And
was so good.
it was so fire. Okay, Lady Sarita, shout out to you, child. And she talked about how Jesus sat with sinners but hung with disciples. So it's not that you're so haughty-taughty that you're not around these people so that way they can't get the essence of God. But you do not build if there's a different type of intimacy that you build relationship with people who are like-minded. They're also disciples. So she said Jesus sat with sinners. He also got up. He
Mm.
hung with disciples.
Come on, talk about it.
Okay. And so it's important that even in the workspace, the relationships that we cultivate are those that are going to be pleasing to God.
Mhm.
Right? Like when we talk about, like you said, from C-suite all the way down to like environmental services, we are still ministers of the gospel, even without you quoting a scripture. I
Mhm.
used to bring donuts to work and it was a ministry. End up having Bible study in my office at lunch. Like it was a ministry, and it wasn't anything super spiritual or heavy. We used to call it Fat Girl Friday. It was just something that I wanted to do, girl. And then sometimes I bring them on Thursday. I'm like, look, it's Thick Girl Thursday as well. Okay, like if there was just a rough day, God would lead me to be consistent in showing the staff that even if you feel like corporately you aren't appreciated, how can I solve this problem? To
Mhm.
let you know that as the leader here in the office, I see you and I appreciate you. So doing things like bringing donuts to work, even on days I was fasting.
Come
No, no,
now.
child. Because Lord, I can't eat none of the donuts. And it's not giving to me what it's supposed to have gave. If I ain't eating, ain't nobody eating up in here. But nevertheless, not my will be done, but yours. So I'm bringing in
Mhm.
donuts, and everybody just eating them in my face. And I'm like, oh no, girl, I had mine in the car. And I didn't. I was hungry. Right. But it's even those small things. And it's so critical to understand that you don't have to be the loudest person in the room to make the largest impact.
Woo.
I
Okay.
don't need to be out here speaking in tongues and quoting scripture. Like you say good morning, I can say good morning back, and blessed and highly favored, and like girl, it's giving too much. Like God, for real, people like if I can't just have hold a norm. I love the Lord with
Yeah.
everything in my every fiber of my being. Also, let's just be normal. Like you don't have to ta me to death. It's fine for somebody to come to you and tell you a joke and you laugh, right? Like you have to have a human side. Even Jesus had that human aspect to where he could sit with the sinners and fellowship. Everything isn't a sermon. And I've learned as I go through my faith walk that God's spirit is so, he doesn't need my help. It
Mm-mm.
penetrates so well that I don't have to say a word. People just know that he's present.
That part.
I don't
Yeah.
have to push, I don't have
Mm-mm.
to push scripture. I don't have to do anything but display the fruits of his spirit.
That's it.
Love, patience, gentleness, kindness, long suffering. We don't like long suffering, but it's a fruit of the spirit. And
Child.
some of us need to learn how to long suffer with some of these jobs because you hop to the next position thinking it's the job. But until you learn the lesson, you will continue to long suffer in these jobs. Everywhere you go, people talking about you on your job, sis, baby girl. It's you're the drama.
You
I
the
love you, sis.
mm,
You're the drama.
it's called being self-aware. That's what
Come
that
on. You're the drama.
is.
And so we have to understand that. you are not going to be always able to run from rough seasons. Persecution will come.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Joseph. He literally was just doing what he was supposed to do, and it was unfair what happened to him. And yet he still stayed submitted to God's plan. So I love that you talked about even like playing the music and just allowing your work ethic, the way that you carry yourself to speak for itself, being a problem solver. Like
Mm-hmm.
Jesus solves problems.
All day, every day.
And
Okay.
it's not about, I think something that gets us caught up is like being married to the opinions of other people. And you're gonna have to divorce them opinions, because to them, if you let these people nagging in your ear saying, "Oh, it couldn't have been me," you're being a suck up, whatever. If you allow that to overtake your assignment that God is giving you, and now you're walking in disobedience because you're listening to the voices of the created and not the creator, bro. They not even saved like that. They in their flesh.
Yes. We look. Save versus in your flesh. Like, what you
Come
gonna
on,
do?
come
I'm
on,
saying over here.
come come on. So when we talk about, I know we talked about how even in solving problems, it can get you, like, you can inadvertently get promoted. Like Joseph just kept leveling up like Sierra, okay? Like it was giving. What are some practical steps you would give someone who's looking to take their career to the next level? They're like, okay, I'm doing all the things spiritually. I'm praying, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, but I still want more in my career. What are some practical tips that you would give them?
Yes. So of course, I'm going to promote my services.
Come on. Yes.
Invest in yourself, get you a coach, a mentor, an advisor, someone who actually understands what you're going through and can
Yeah.
help you navigate the way that you're trying to level up in your career journey.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a coach is good, like myself, I'm definitely going to understand and be there, be a listening ear to you,
Yeah.
and help you strategize on
Come
how
on.
you can get there.
Yeah.
Not just you being out here willy nilly and whatnot, trying to say, "Girl, I'm trying to get this promotion, but I don't know." No, we gonna get it all the way together. So first and foremost, invest in yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. Next is I want you to revamp your resume. I have resources out there on my site, www.theubrandacademy.com.
Come
Also,
on.
if you don't see the resources that you need, you can always email me at hello@theubrandacademy.com so
Mm-hmm.
that you can get the resources you need in order to level up in your career journey. So I talked about revamping your resume. You also want to spruce up your LinkedIn page. If you don't have a LinkedIn page, get one. That's
Come
where
on.
I be hanging out at, okay?
Okay.
I hang out there. My clientele is there. My clients are there. You can see plenty of client testimonies from the work we've done together and how they have leveled up in their career journey.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you want to leverage your network. Leverage your network. It could be your family, it could be your colleagues, it could be anybody that you have encountered and that you kind of know that, oh, you're in this position that I would like to be in. Let's
Yeah.
have an informational interview. Let's have an informational session so
Yeah.
that I can see, is this the field that I want to go into? Is this the position that I really want to have in
Mm-hmm.
the next season of my career journey? So that's some ways that you can leverage your network. Also, another tip is you want to define your why. Why are you in the industry that you are in? Why are you here? Why, what's the big picture for you? How are
Mm-hmm.
you contributing value? What is something that you can add to this industry, right?
Yeah.
And what is it in this role that's going to get you going? Like, what excites you about this particular role? And a way to do that is to look at like job descriptions, right? That you may be interested in.
Yeah.
You're going to look at the key roles and responsibilities, and you're going to say, hey, there's a couple of things that excite me about this. Not things that, oh, I can do, I do them well, but what excites you? Because you're going to need to take hold of that, especially when you're having like those tough days at work.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, we just talked about it. You will go through persecution.
Yeah. Yes.
Long suffering.
It's in the book.
Right. Long suffering. And that goes in your career journey as well. But are you going to jump ship? Or are you going to like hold on to like, oh yes, this is the part that keeps me excited. So maybe I need to talk to somebody so I can do more of it, right? Do more of it. You got to have those hard conversations.
Yeah.
In the workplace, right? So again, define your why, redefine your why, and ask yourself, what is it that, or why is it that I'm here?
Yeah.
Okay. Also, I want you to define your transferable skills, because there's a lot of people who want to literally transition from one industry to the next, or go from one company to the next in a totally different industry or a totally different career, right? So you need to look at your transferable skills. A great example of a transferable skill is communication. We are communicating right now.
Yeah.
Communicate as a cashier. You communicate as a doctor. You communicate as an accountant to your clients. You'll communicate as an entrepreneur. That is a transferable skill, meaning a skill you can take from one industry to the next, right? Yeah. So many. So when you identify your transferable skills, you can definitely see, okay, I have the skills, the skill set to truly thrive in this next career. You know, I just have to highlight it or get some help or hire somebody to help me highlight these transferable skills that are literally going to be used in the career that I'm seeking to go into. Okay.
This episode of the Prescription for Purpose podcast is brought to you by The Society. The Society is our online membership community for women who want to grow in both their faith and in their business. It's hosted by myself, Tatum Tamia of the Blessed and Bossed Up podcast, Kavaya Watrice of the She Who Is Called app, and Rosalind Renee of the Therapy as a Christian podcast. This membership community literally has everything that you need. We do free challenges once a quarter, and our last challenge at the end of the year, people were getting saved. People were getting jobs, growing in their faith. I mean, it is just such a rich place to be. I absolutely love hosting the Society because I get to teach Bible study every 2 weeks. Kavaya writes daily devotionals. We have prayer call every week. Tatum does business training, and Rosalind makes sure that we are on our toes mentally and we're able to effectively be productive in every aspect of our life. I promise that you will not regret taking advantage of being a part of this community. Head on over to the blessedandbossedupsociety.com to start your free 2-week trial. That's blessedandbossedupsociety.com to start your 2-week free trial today. Now let's get back to the show.